Okay, so we're looking at exercise 6B, question 32, yes? All right, so it says 3 hotels each have single rooms, double rooms, and suites. The number of each of these in each hotel is as shown in matrix P. So we've got P equals 15, 25, 2. Now, you don't have to write this out. You could probably highlight it or just make note of it, but I'm just sort of making sense of it in my head. Yeah. But it's a bit, so I'm just going, we're going to do the calculations. This is more about me actually going, what's it saying? What's the story saying? Okay. And so we've got hotel A, hotel B, hotel C. So that keeps things straight in my head. Single, double, and suites. All right. So what is this actually? What's this? The number of each of these in each hotel is shown in matrix P. So what does that mean? What is this? What do these numbers mean? What does that 15 in the top left-hand corner mean? What is the 15? It means hotel A has 15 single beds, okay? The 5 next to it means hotel B has 5 single beds. If you can make sense of what the matrix is actually telling you, then the words aren't going to be as confusing later on. So the 3 means that hotel C has 3 suites. Everyone okay to there? Okay, then we're going to keep going. The 3 hotels are all owned by the same company and all operate the same pricing structure as shown in the tariff matrix Q. Now, tariff means, pardon? Tariff means like what you pay for it, just a cost. Tariff, like if it's a bit like you could pay a tariff on something, like it's just a fee, okay? However, if you didn't know the word tariff, could you work that out from the matrix given that it talks about pricing and there's money? Yeah, so if you get freaked out by a word, look at the context and go, oh, it probably means that, and go with it. If you're wrong, you're wrong, but at least you've then actually gone with something instead of getting completely put off by a word and then not answering anything, okay? So cost per night, and we've got this matrix, which is 75, 125, 180, and that's Q. And we're saying single, double, suite. Okay. Only one of PQ and QP can be formed. Which one? So we're saying, do we have to multiply P times Q or Q times P? Why? Good. So if we look at PQ, we've got a matrix which is 3 by 3 and a matrix of 1 by 3. Does that work? It doesn't work because these two have to be the same. If we look at Q times P, then we've got 1 by 3 and 3 by 3. And it does work because they have to be the same. And our answer is going to be a 1 by 3 because it's the leftover ones. If you want me to draw it, because I think we've mainly looked at it like this, hey? So these are the same, so therefore our answer is going to be a 1 by 3. Okay, so our answer for that is QP. And they've kind of given you a bit of a tip there. They've started you off there, what we call scaffolding a question. They're making you actually learn little bits along the way. So they're not just chucking you in it and saying multiply them together in some way. But that's the first thing you should do always with these questions. Which way do they have to be multiplied to make it work? And if you get the answer of saying, I can't do that, always go, oh, am I allowed to do it the other way, which might work? Don't just say it can't be done. Always just double check. All right, so A is that. B, determine the matrix product from part A and explain what information it is that this matrix displays. So we're saying matrix Q times by matrix P. And we can put that into our calculator. So as a reminder, Marnie, you might want to watch this because you wouldn't have seen how to do this bit just for the calculator stuff. So we want to open up our calculators and we're going to have to use this in our investigation too. So you want to practice using your calculators. if you haven't done so already. All right, so once I've opened a calculator page and it comes up, better get that sorted in the next week. We're not going to have a calculator. I've opened up a new calculator page. What do I do?
Go into
Menu. So we go menu. Oh, hang on, first we've got to add a calculator. Menu, 7, so matrix and vector, and then create a matrix. Now, just as a tip, the things you're going to have to use in your investigation, some of them are in here and also some of them are in here. So just always think 7, 1, and then you should be able to find your answers as well, okay? Matrix, okay? So we're creating a matrix. Now, we're going Q times P. So what sort of matrix do we need? We need 1 by 3. So 1 row and 3 columns. And we press OK. And so we're saying 75, 125, and 180. Now, I quickly had a look at that and I'm going, okay, they're going to ask me another question. So why don't I actually save that as Q so I can use it later on? So rather than actually just putting in matrix times matrix and having to copy it again later, let's save it as Q. How do I save it as Q? Arrow. How do I get the arrow? Control variable. Okay, and let's put in Q. So this is saying I've now said Q is that, and if I put in Q, it's going to come up as that matrix now. So then what am I going to do? I'm going to also put in P, yeah? So instead of using the menu, I'm going to use that little button there, the symbol button I'm going to call it, and I'm going to click on this one which tells me different ones. Actually, I think the symbol button's what doesn't like it in my computer. And we're going 3 by 3, and so I need to put the other numbers in. So 15, 5, 5, 25, 25, and 14, and 2, 1, and 3. And I'm going to label it as P. So control store P. All right, so P is now in there like that. So how am I going to do Q times P? Just going to write QP. I don't think I even have to. Oh, no, Q times P, sorry. And it gives us this answer. So we can put that answer into our answers. But the question also asks us, what does this mean? And you're going to get that a lot in your tests and your investigations. What does this actually tell us? It's great that you can do this calculation, but what does it actually mean? I think the easiest way to look at this is actually to go, okay, what are we doing to get those numbers? So you know how you've used your calculator to work it out? You actually need to make sense of it. Are you guys okay? Yeah? All right, so we're saying 75, 125, and 180. We're saying that row times by that first row gives us the 4,610. So the 75, 120, 180 times by the 15, the 25, and the 2. What is that answer actually going to give us? Well, this is why we practice to actually make sense of it. So that's why I'm asking you a question which no one's answering to actually try and think about it. Okay, so if we look at it and we go, what's this? What is Q? What's that showing us? What was it? Read the question again if you get stuck. It was the price per night, per room. Yes? Okay, so this is saying the price per night. Now, we're going to be multiplying that by the first column. So this one here. What's that showing us? It's the number of rooms in Hotel A. So if I multiply the number of rooms by the price for the rooms, what's it actually giving us as an answer? We know the answer is 4,610. What's this actually mean? It's what added together. It is how much they plus together. It's the it's the amount of money you're going to get for how much money. If all their rooms are sold, how much money Hotel A can make. You see that? Because we're saying we've got 15 rooms at $75, plus we've got 125 rooms at 25 rooms at $125 and 2 rooms at $180. Altogether, that adds up to be $4,610. Okay, that is the maximum amount of money earned by Hotel A. If you get stuck, think about it like that. What am I actually multiplying together? What are the two things we're looking at? Most of the time, it's either going to be like the capacity of a room or something like that, or cost, how much money you're making, things like that. If you don't know, take a guess. Don't leave it blank. All right? So that's part B. Part C says, suppose instead that the tariff matrix were written as a column matrix R, the matrix product PR could be formed, but would it give any useful data? So if we wrote, so what this question's saying, it's challenging, is we're saying if instead we wrote P, so we're saying PR, I'm just going to write it in here. So if we said this times by 75, 125, like this, and then 180. Okay, if I multiplied, remembering that's the price of the single, the double, and the suite, if I multiplied 15, 5, and 5 by 75, 125, and 180, would it give us anything? Pardon? It'll be a different answer. What is the 15, the 5, and the, what's this actually telling us? It's the singles in Hotel A, Hotel B, and Hotel C. What was this telling us again? The price of the 3 rooms. So if I multiply them together, does it actually do anything? No, because they're not connected to each other. So that's what your answer would be. It would give you an answer, but it actually doesn't relate because the single number of rooms needs to equal the single prices. It's hard. This is why you need to practice, yeah? It's not an easy topic when you get to the worded questions, but it's an applications course. So you need to think about applications, okay? So the question says, suppose instead the matrix products would be formed, it would give you no useful data as the single bedrooms numbers would be multiplied by the price for the wrong rooms. So it doesn't give us the right thing. So always think about, usually in a matrix, whatever's in the first row is going to link up to whatever's in the first column of the second one, because that's what you're multiplying together. There's going to be a connection there, which is why we check for that, the number of them at the start. I know it's hard, but we just need to try and keep practicing and get it right, okay? Would you like to go through 33? Yeah. Did you say you totally get it? Yeah. Do you want to read on with the other stuff we're going to do next, if you want to? Fun? Yeah, perfect. Okay, good. All right, question 33 says, a carpenter runs a business making 3 different models of cubby houses for children. Each cubby house is made using 4 different sizes of treated pine timber. The number of meters of each size of timber required for each cubby house is also shown below. We will call this matrix P, so it's got all these different bits of information there. There's probably almost too much information there to actually get in your head, because did you look at that and just go, whoa, there's too much there, yeah? But let's just have a think about it. And we go, okay, we've got cubby A, cubby B, cubby C. It needs this many poles, this much decking, this much framing, this much sheeting. Don't worry about the dimensions to start with. They're still there though, so you need to be aware, because I'm sure at some point one of the questions will have something about dimensions. But let's just get the matrix in our head first. So the first row of this matrix, if you always just try and work out what the first row means and maybe the first column means, just in your head to do with the story, it'll get the story into your head a bit better. Okay, so we've got A, B, and C. We've got 3, 30, 20, 40, 4, 35, 25, 60, 6, 40, 30, 70. And we've got poles, decking, framing, sheeting. What does the first row mean? What does this row mean? Cubby A needs 3 poles, 30 lots of decking, 20 lots of framing, 40 lots of sheets. Get it? What's the first column mean? 3, 4, 6. The number of poles needed for cubby A, cubby B, cubby C. Okay, we got the story to there. They've also got different dimensions, which we will remember, but I'm not writing down at the moment. So then it says, the carpenter receives an order for 3 type A's, 1 type B, and 2 type C's. Write this information as matrix Q, which should be either a row or column matrix, whichever can form a product with P. So we're saying we have to be able to multiply P by this new matrix. It needs to be a row or a column, and it's got things for A, B, and C. What does it need to be? Well, what are our options? We've either got a row, which would be 3, 1, and 2, or we've got a column, which would be 3, 1, and 2. First one? And would it be before or after? It would have to be before, because think about it. If you actually look at this, you're going this is like the number of them. If you go A, B, and C, you can actually notice if you go row to column, it's still A, B, and C, A, B, and C. You know, they're connected to each other. Okay, so this one would be, we're going to name it Q. We're going to go, no, that one doesn't work. So for part A, determine the product and what it would represent. So for this, we'd go 3, 1, 2. There should be more gaps between those numbers, but that's okay. 3, 30, 20, 40, 4, 35, 25, 60, 6, 40, 30, 70. And we'll get our answer. Can everyone see where we got to there? You had to think about which one, how to multiply. It has to be about those dimensions, but also just looking for that connection between the first row and the first column of what we're multiplying by. Oh, sorry. All right, so are we going to... I'll just write it in. So we want 1 row by 3 columns. 3, 1, 2 times by. You guys should be practicing putting these things into your calculators as well. It's something you're going to need to be really quick at during a test. right, so it's given us this number, 25, 205, 145, 320. Is that right? That's good. All right, now, but the question says, what does this matrix represent? What does this actually tell us? You know how I said that these things will connect? You know how this is like A, B, and C, and this is A, B, and C? Okay. And then that we find out what the rows and columns are from the other top ones. They're going to relate to each other as well. So what was the top along here? What was the top of the second matrix? Poles, decking, framing, sheeting. And what was the side over here? The number bought. So if the one which we kind of disappeared was the A, Bs and Cs, then our answer is actually going to be it is for that many things. Yeah. So the answer, so if I buy 3 A's, 1 B and 2 C's, I will need 25 poles, 205 lots of decking, 145 lots of fencing and 320 sheeting. Yes. Yeah. So it's actually, if you think about what the titles are, you get rid of this one, which is the same. Those leftover two ones is what is shown in your answer. So if you get stuck, look at what they were showing. And this is where actually understanding what was asked, start with answers it. All right? Okay, who actually did 34 and 35? A couple of you. Okay. Did you get it right? Yeah? Okay. What I might do is we've got 20 minutes. I'd like you guys to practice 34 and 35, and I'm going to talk to you about something else to do and get your head. Does that sound okay? Yeah? Can you guys give 34 and 35 a try, please? Yeah. Just by the way, I got one email from 2 classes